This is starting to look freaky weird when it comes to stimulus check number 4 and everything else that is currently going on. Let's talk through all of the details. Welcome everyone. Thanks again for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so I can continue to keep you updated each and every day with everything going on while information is changing rapidly, literally on a daily basis. Also, so we can be sure we can reach 1 million subscribers right here on the channel before the end of the year. Thank you, I truly appreciate it, and feel free to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Thanks again, let's jump right into this. So if you've been watching my videos for any length of time now, we've been talking a lot about stimulus check number 4 and the 2 upcoming stimulus packages, the American Jobs Plan and the massive $3.5 trillion American Families Plan. Now, with that being said, we're also watching everything else that is going on in Congress right now, as well as what's going on around the country. Well, if history would give us any clue as to what is coming in the future, we should be experts at predicting what is actually going to happen over the coming months. So with that being said, let's talk through this a little bit further, and I think you're going to find this to be incredibly interesting and almost a little bit coincidentally weird. All right, with that being said, stick with me and let's talk through this a little bit further. Let's scroll back to all the way to early 2020. In early 2020, exactly on March 27th, 2020, the biggest stimulus package in history in the United States was passed, the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, which also contained a $1,200 stimulus check. Over the coming weeks and months, the $1,200 stimulus check was being distributed to all of the American people who were eligible to receive it at that time, which basically included the vast majority of the population in this country. Well, during that time and going forward over the coming months, there was still a lot of talk about additional stimulus packages because the economy was not doing all that great and the American people were doing not very good at all, right? Remember that? So there was a lot of talk about additional stimulus. Well, throughout the summer of 2020, we got a few different stimulus packages and proposals that were introduced. Let me remind you, a $3.4 trillion stimulus package called the HEROES Act, followed up shortly thereafter by a $1 trillion stimulus package called the HEALS Act. Well, shortly thereafter, we also did get another proposal from the Problem Solvers Caucus that was about $1.7 trillion. Now, nothing ever happened with all 3 of those packages. They hit the table, they were introduced, they went back and forth both sides, and eventually nothing ever came of them. As we fast forward through summer and into the fall and late into 2020, eventually both sides finally came together on a $900 billion package that they eventually passed way late in the year, signed into law on December 28th, 2020, which also contained a $600 stimulus check. All right, now that we've laid all that out, just take note of everything we just talked about. It's going to be really weird here in just a second. All right, let's fast forward into 2021. Remember last year, 2020, March 27th, the CARES Act was signed into law, containing the $1,200 stimulus check. Here's what's weird. This year, March 11th, 2021, the American Rescue Plan was signed into law by President Biden, containing, or by the way, it was a $1.9 trillion stimulus package containing a $1,400 stimulus check. Now, as we continue to fast forward through 2021, check it out. Guess what we have on the table right here, right now? Yup, you called it a $3.5 trillion stimulus package, otherwise known as the American Families Plan. Does it sound a little bit familiar to the $3.4 trillion HEROES Act that we saw last summer? Yeah, check this out. What else do we have on the table right now? We also have a $1 trillion, well, it's a little bit over $1 trillion, but essentially a $1 trillion stimulus package, once again, on the table called the American Jobs Plan. Does it sound a little bit similar to the $1 trillion HEALS Act that we saw last summer? Yeah, pretty weird, huh? Get this. We also do have another proposal from the Problem Solvers Caucus on the table right now. This is way too weird. All right, seriously, this is getting way too weird now. All right, so let's continue to move forward. As we continue moving forward through the rest of summer and into fall of 2021, it is playing out exactly as we saw in 2020. Basically, last summer, they wasted a whole bunch of time throughout the summer. They left on their recess. They did a bunch of things on the recess. There was a lot of talk out there. There was a lot of different things coming out during their recess. But essentially when they came back in September, it was right down to it to discuss the federal budget before the government would potentially go into a shutdown. Well, guess what's probably going to happen this year? They're going to leave on their summer recess. They're going to come back and scramble to get things together to avoid a government shutdown the end of September, right? Because that's when the fiscal year begins or ends is the end of September, and the new one begins October 1st. All right, so as I said earlier, if history would give us any clue as to what will happen in the future, I don't know about you, but I think this is almost weird how this is playing out almost identical to 2020. If we can look at history as a clue into what will happen going forward, we would have to anticipate that the next stimulus package containing the next stimulus check will probably be passed at some point in the fourth quarter of 2021, sometime anywhere between October, November, and December. Now, let's just hope that they actually get their game on a little bit here and that they come together sooner than the end of the year, 3 days before the end of the year, and hopefully they get something issued and signed into law and a stimulus check out the door way before that, right? Especially before Christmas. That would sure be nice. But let's just say all of this kind of playing out as we are seeing it right now is looking really, really weird. I mean, maybe I'm just a total nerd and I find this to be really interesting, but I think that you're probably thinking, maybe this is a little bit of a coincidence how everything is playing out. Let's also remember this too. Last year, 2020, was also an election year. Well, get this. What is coming up in 2022? Yes, another election year. The midterm elections will be happening next fall, right? Well, what do they want to do up ahead of the midterm elections, right? Wow. Anyway, so we need to rely on history. History tends to repeat itself. If you haven't heard that saying before, it is absolutely true. When it comes to so many things, history continues to repeat a cycle over and over again, and it continues to repeat itself many, many times over. So we need to continue looking at this, but based on all the information that I've talked about in previous videos and the timelines for things like this, it is looking likely that yes, once again, they will likely be adding and passing the budget reconciliation bill sometime probably after their summer recess. So probably right before the fourth quarter or sometime within the fourth quarter of 2021. Anyway, I was looking at all this and I thought, this is way too weird, right? All of these different packages that have been proposed, the packages that were signed into law, the stimulus checks that they contained, the time frames, the wasted time in between where they continue to waste time and drag their feet, offering additional support to the people. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I just thought it was really interesting. I wanted to share this with you, but we will definitely watch all of this very closely as I watch everything very closely. Hopefully they come together and they actually get something done well before the end of the year, but who actually knows, right? Either way, I'm still very confident at this point that there will be a fourth stimulus check added into the package. I honestly think they're just dragging their feet right now to milk the clock out, right? So anyway, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so you can stay up to date with everything going on with all of these updates each and every day. Feel free to share this video with your friends, family, social media, and of course, go back and check out any of the other over 1,300 videos right here on the channel. And of course, make sure to subscribe so we can make sure to hit 1 million subscribers by the end of this year. Thanks again. I truly appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.